This is our homily for January 21st, the third Sunday in Ordinary Time. O'Toole worked in a lumber yard for 20 years, and all that time he had been stealing wood. At last his conscience began to bother him, and he went to confession to repent. "Father, it's 15 years since my last confession, and I've been stealing wood from the lumber yard all these years," he confessed to the priest. "I understand, my son," the priest said. "For your penance, can you make a novena?" O'Toole said, "Father, if you have the plans, I got the lumber." When we think of the word repent, we think like O'Toole in the joke. We realize we did something wrong in the past. We feel guilty, and we want to be forgiven. That is basically what the sacrament of reconciliation is for. And I think it's the same with our celebration of Ash Wednesday. We are told what we hear in the gospel today: repent and believe in the gospel. As ashes, a symbol of the desire to do penance for past sins, are placed on our forehead. But the way repent is used in our gospel today is a little different. For us today, when we use the word repent, the focus is in the past and for feeling guilty for what we did in the past. The Greek word that's translated as repent in this gospel is metanoia. And metanoia is more a call to look to the future, to change the direction of one's life, to go to something new and formerly unimaginable. In a sense, it's to accept a new vision of life. It is not focused on regretting the past. It's focused on having a new future. And our gospel gives a very clear example. Immediately after hearing Jesus say, "Repent and believe in the gospel," we are told, as he passed by the Sea of Galilee, he saw Simon and his brother Andrew. Jesus calls Andrew, Simon, James, and John, and they immediately leave their boats and their former way of life and follow Jesus. They walk into a future they could not have imagined before. That is metanoia. They might have known Jesus before. Remember last week we heard John the Baptist point Jesus out to Andrew, who followed him and then went and got Simon. So they knew Jesus, but this was a whole new call. Leave everything and go into a new future. That is a strong example. Leaving all, as did those four disciples, is not a given. Jesus didn't invite everyone he encountered to do that. In fact, there was one man who wanted to follow Jesus, and Jesus said, "No, go home and share what's happened with you." What is a given is to follow Jesus in the sense of living as he did, showing love and concern for others. That is the metanoia that we're called to. That's the commitment we're asked to make. Taking Peter as an example, we can see that we're not talking about a one-time action. This metanoia is a process that we need to go through, growing more and more in our ability to live and love as Christ did. It took Peter a long time to get over his preconceived ideas of what the Messiah would do. After bragging that he would never deny Jesus, he did it 3 times, and so on. We see the lifelong process that Peter went through to be able to live this new life he had accepted when he responded to Jesus' call to follow me and left his boat in his past life behind. At baptism, we accepted the challenge to live and love as Jesus did. It is a process, one step forward at times and 2 steps backwards. The purpose of all our sacraments and rituals is to help us grow in our ability to fulfill this basic commitment to live Jesus' values in our daily life. Quiet time in prayer with him also helps us find our way. Metanoia is not a single action, but rather a lifelong process. The important thing is that we are growing in our ability to live gospel values in daily life. I invite us to reflect on the challenge of metanoia this week, and let us thank God for the gifts he gives us to help: the sacraments and their graces, our rituals, our community, and each other. God bless.